Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I am a woman in midlife just like you. And today we are going to be talking about the simple things in life basically, and how in midlife I think, or I encourage you at least, to enjoy those simple things more. Like my puppy dog coming to say hi. Hey baby. So I don't know about you, but when I was in my 30s, late 20s, 30s, early 40s, that was like my prime time of raising two little kids, most of it on my own as a single mom after I got divorced. So I was just caught up in like the day-to-day busyness of life, where you're just really on to the next thing, always just looking like at the day you're in and what the next activity is or the next thing on your to-do list is. And not so many like stop and smell the roses kind of moments, But now, things are really different. One of my favorite things in the morning is just watching the sunlight stream through the windows in my front door and seeing how it reflects differently and the patterns it makes on the walls and the floor. Like literally, not quite like watching paint dry, but beautiful. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to tell you the three simple things in life that I have kind of boiled things down to, the three simple things that I need in this life to basically, I guess, be fulfilled. I think these moments become noticeable after you take the time to slow down and be grateful for these simple things. All right, let's start here. So when I was thinking, when this idea came to me, I don't remember, I was walking or in the shower. That's where most of my ideas come from. I thought about how many simple things there are in my life that I look forward to and appreciate every day. And that in the moment, I'm able to do that as well, which is part of what we'll get to. But you know how when you like say a word over and over and over again, it starts to mean nothing? Well, that's how the word simple came to be when I was just brainstorming and taking notes for what I thought I could talk about with you today. So first we're going to start out with the definition of simple because I think it sets the tone. I love using definitions. So here's my favorite definition of simple as it pertains to today's discussion. Uncomplicated in form, nature, or design. Love it. It's simple in its definition. Uncomplicated. I think that's just a good word to use in its place. So I know how busy life can feel, but I also think that at this moment for me in my life, in midlife, I have really felt like a slowing down, and not really intentionally. It was really just because that's kind of what happened. Once my last child graduated from college, got moved in, settled, there was a lot less for me to be, I guess, needed for. And so in this slowing down, I have found a lot of the simple things that I love. And I want you to be able to appreciate the same things because sometimes instead, and I've talked about this before, it can feel empty or lonely. And I want you to know that there is so much more for you in this phase of your life. Now, I also know that things will ebb and flow. Like, it's not like, okay, I'm in midlife, things slow down and it's going to be slow for the rest of my life. No. And thank God, no, because I want it to have seasons of busyness. Like, I know one of my daughters will be getting engaged soon. So I know after that, there's going to be a lot of like preparing for the wedding and planning and parties and showers and, all the things, that go along with a wedding, and I can't wait. Like, it's going to be so much fun. So I think I just noticed this pull towards like really appreciating the beauty in and simplicity in just everyday life kind of things. I've always been an observer. Like, you go to a party or to some kind of work thing and you're in a crowded room. I've always been the person who, I do talk. It's not like I'm antisocial, but I sit back and really soak things in, observe people, observe their actions, what they're saying, their mannerisms, those kind of things. And I think it's a really good thing. It's a good quality. And then when I speak to people, it tends to have a little bit more meaning to it because I have noticed things. Not to sound creepy, but yeah, like I think it's a good thing, and I think that is showing up in other ways in my life now. Okay, so now let's get into like my top, simple joys in life. And let's see, one, two, I kind of boiled it down to 5 things, and I'll try to go through them quickly. I feel like my videos aren't too long, but I think I can like talk too much sometimes. So I'm trying to get more concise with my words. Okay, I'm going to use my notes as always. But okay, one of my top simple joys is nature. So, not just like being out in nature and hiking or anything like that, but it's, how nature gets incorporated into daily life. For me, I live in a suburban area. I'm not close to places where I could easily just like go for a hike or go do. I would love to be, trust me, but it's just not in this area. That's just not how it is. So, I'm talking about things like my backyard. I've made a very, like lovely place that I love to be in. So the sound of like the fountain, bubbling water, when I hear the leaves rustling in the breeze, or I have my windows open if it's a nice enough day and feel the breeze coming through the window, hear the birds outside, how the sunshine shines in, just those simple things. Like, I love those moments. I look forward to them. And when I'm in them, I feel happiness and joy. One of my best memories growing up as a kid, like every Saturday was like the day we all did our chores and cleaned the house. We didn't have a maid or anything like that. It was the family. We all had certain jobs to do, and Saturday was the day that it happened. And I have the best memories of, the windows being open, and the ceiling fans on. And then my parents had a huge like record collection, and there was always something playing. So just like breezy music, kind of like dancing in the air kind of thing. I just love that memory. And so, yeah, I recreate that in my own life. And that's what it goes back to, my roots of doing that growing up. Now, when I'm doing it most of the time now, I'm not cleaning. I do clean, but like I do it a lot more than just when I clean. And I mean, my parents did too. But that is just a very clear memory for me throughout my childhood, was Saturday mornings and cleaning the house. After cartoons, of course. Okay, let's see. I need my notes. The second thing was, I'll add to that too. Like I had one car for like 10 years. And then I finally just recently got a new one, and I was like, the one of the things I will not negotiate on is the sunroof. Like, I have to have a sunroof and I use it so much. Even if I can't open the sunroof, but I can open the shade, so there's just the glass, and you can let the sun in. But having the sunroof open with music on and the breeze coming in, it just fills me up, That's what I want you to find, the things that fill you up. Okay, second thing. Yes. Okay, so just routine things of like cooking, fresh, whole foods. I'm really paying a lot more attention to what I put into my body, especially after what I went through with the DCIS diagnosis, and that's all behind me now. But it's really made me think about what I put in my body more, and also other things like candles and perfume, skincare, all of those things that I am really being a lot more aware of now. But to go back to the simple things, cooking a meal from start to finish, the smells, the chopping, just the sounds of things sizzling and cooking, and the smell that fills my home that I know that I've created from what I'm cooking. And maybe having a glass of wine. There's usually music on. You're picking up on a theme there. So just that act of being able to, get good foods for myself and cook them and eat them, see the process from start to finish. You know, it's not something I'm just taking out of the freezer and putting in the microwave. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and there are times when we need things that are quick and easy, but when I can, I try to really enjoy the process. Okay, next up we have okay, so the next thing is just, it's kind of a similar theme, I think, throughout all of these. It's just the beauty in the everyday, right? I have started buying flowers every week when I go to the grocery store. Just got those today. They're beautiful. They only cost me $8 or $9. To me, that is a worthy expense. They bring me so much happiness, not just to have in my home now, but the actual act of looking at the flowers in the store, picking out the ones that I really like the best. And then when I come home, taking my time to like trim each flower, place it in the vase, and make it an arrangement that looks nice. I think before I used to just bring flowers home from the store sometimes, you know, cut them, stick them in the jar, in the vase just like they were, make sure they kind of looked okay. But now I really take my time with each flower, putting it in the vase. And even my daughters and I went to a flower arrangement class and learned some things. Now this is just tulips in a vase, so there wasn't much to do as far as there weren't other types of flowers and plants to include in there. But I have I've decided that buying myself flowers every week is okay because because it's okay, but joy is okay, and we all get to decide how we spend our money, right? Okay. Oh, another thing was like watering my plants. Do I forget to do it? Yes. But when I'm doing it, I feel a connection of putting the water into the soil, and I know that my plant is happy and thriving, and I've done a lot better with that because I used to not be able to keep plants alive at all, and now I have 5 in the house that are thriving. I think one of the important themes here is being present and connected when you're doing these activities. Next up are things like music, art, creativity, books. I have discovered that I love writing, and sometimes there's no point to it, right? I'll just have some ideas in my head and I put it down, I type it up, and it's like I put some music on, get the music. And so I'm, you know, writing while I'm listening to something that kind of like really puts me in that flow. And I do want to write my own book. I have a concept for it, but it is by no means the full concept. So I kind of have like the premise for it, and you know, the rest is hopefully will show itself to me eventually. I'm working on it. Then art, I really would love to find a different artistic outlet for myself, painting, something like that, drawing. I need water. Hang on. Water is always the one thing I forget when I sit down to record. And then like halfway through, I'm like, I can't. My mouth just gets really dry. Okay. So where was I? Art. Okay. So yes, I would like to find a way to bring art into my life that I'm doing. But outside of that, I love filling my home with local art or art that I collect when I am on trips or travel. I think music it's been obvious as I've been talking that is whenever I can, there's music on. Yeah, and then I think there's just the quiet moments in life, you know, like when you're just maybe sitting in a favorite chair at home, you know, my cat's sleeping next to me, the dog's on the floor next to me sleeping, and I can look out my window and I'll see some birds or the squirrels, the sun, the leaves waving, you know, in the breeze. I don't know, it might sound corny, but it really just brings me a whole lot of joy. Okay, so as promised, 3 things that I have kind of three of the simple things that I have decided are all that I really need in life. And sure, I could make a longer list, but if it boils down to three things, I know exactly what they are. And just last year, I could have definitely narrowed it to three things, but there was a much longer laundry list of things that I wanted. Now, that doesn't mean you can't dream about more than this or having, it's just, but this is like what it boils down to for me. So the three things that I basically want out of life is to be able to, number one, be able to provide for myself on my own terms. And number two is to spend time with my girls. And number three is to travel. Now, I know in everything I listed, I didn't specifically talk about a simple thing being traveling or my girls or providing for myself. So that's not really what this part is about. This is about, out of all the simplicity in life, how can it translate into you being fulfilled, And so I think all of those moments kind of add up to this, which is to provide for myself, meaning I'm taken care of, I have a roof over my head, food to eat, that kind of thing, good health. Time with my girls, and I think that's self-explanatory, and traveling. I love to travel. That is one thing I would never take out of my life. It's a priority for me. So, and when I'm doing those things, appreciating them, I think being able to have appreciated these simple things in life and being more present and observe these things and be grateful for them is what has led me to be able to just narrow down very quickly, easily, simply what I want out of life. So I ask you now, what are some of the simple things in your life that you really find yourself noticing and appreciating? And how can that help you kind of narrow down your top three of like, okay, in my life, what do I need to just be content? What fulfills me? And if you have trouble with any of that, try noticing more, be more present, and look at when you're in a moment at home, what is something that you catch yourself like kind of daydreaming or staring at, and maybe you're not noticing it, but now I hope maybe you will, that if you're staring off at something and kind of like in awe of it, observe it, name it. What is that thing? What is the feeling you're getting from watching the sun dance on the floor as it comes through the window? What is it about that makes you happy? So, or just notice it. And then I think when you can be more present, observe, be grateful for those things, it really does help you figure out just the simplicity of what you actually need in life. So anyway, I'm going to go enjoy my flowers, the smell of my candle, and I will see you next week. All right, bye.